you to ask questions that you have, and we'll take it at the end. Okay, so we'll start. First of all, a warm welcome to all of you. We're really excited to organize this webinar to talk about something that for me is a big moment in the history of technology and AI. And today we are going to talk about how we are going to use generative AI like GPT and what problems we can solve, and especially with respect to Engati, how are we using it for solving problems for our customers. I'm your host, Anvis. I run the AI and research division of Engati. We have been doing AI, especially NLP, for last 5 years. And I've seen the journey of NLP over the years. And we've seen that with the offering that we have made at Engati. I'll quickly go over the agenda. So I'll spend a couple of minutes on talking about what we do at Engati. And then I'll go over to generative AI and especially ChatGPT, which I think all of you know by now, is a breakthrough technology. And we'll go through what ChatGPT can do. I'm sure all of you have heard about what all it can do, but there are a lot of things that it can't do. So we'll look at those use cases that are interesting for enterprises. Then I'll talk about specific instances of or use cases that we can use for enterprise problem solving. And I'll also highlight some of the features that we have integrated and are offering it as part of the Engati platform. And then we'll leave the rest of the time for Q&A. So Engati is a low-code, no-code platform where users can come in and build applications based on AI and automation and kind of connect their customers to businesses. So in short, we are kind of the pipeline which can be used to acquire customers, to engage with customers, and obviously you want to retain them and service them. So the entire customer journey can be modeled and built with Engati platform. And the best part is that you can do it without no technical knowledge or very less technical knowledge. So that has been one of the hallmarks of Engati. We build this platform for everybody, just like ChatGPT is for everyone. We do not want only technical people to use the platform. So we have a lot of customers who have actually used the platform and have given us that feedback saying that if we hadn't thought about designed it to make it low code, no code, they would have never built an application to service their customers. So think of an example like, let's say there's a travel company, and we have many such travel companies who have built chatbots to engage with their customers 24/7, 365 days a year, and in more than 50 languages, right? We have customers all across the world. So let's take a travel company, and they want to engage with the users who are coming in and asking about any travel packages or trips that they can make. So they come in, they built a chatbot on their own, and they have been able to capture leads. They have been able to answer questions using our AI technology. And they have also been able to execute automation flows. And all of this can be done very quickly and with or without assistance. So in terms of customers who are currently using the Engati platform, we have a lot of customers from various industry verticals. Customer support in general for any company is a very critical area. And a lot of companies from various industries, be it banking, insurance, e-commerce, retail, real estate, they use Engati for customer support and customer service. In addition to that, we've also had customers who have built bots outside of customer service. So for example, they want to automate a purchase journey, like an e-commerce customer. As all of you know, you go to Amazon or Flipkart to buy, and think of it this way. If you want to experience a virtual assistant who can guide you and help you into making a purchase. So think of the experience that you would have when you go to a physical store. So you walk into the physical store, somebody immediately greets you, talks to you, does some chit chat, tries to know you, and then kind of finds out from you what are your interests, what is it that you want to buy. And they'll engage with you in a way that they connect to you emotionally and try to kind of understand your needs. And then they'll present a list of products that suit your budget and your interests. Now, imagine that experience you want to build online. You can do that. And you can do that with Engati. So we built out-of-the-box offering in e-commerce and a couple of other domains where people can just come in and start using the bot without training it. As all of you know, one of the significant challenges with AI is training. And training requires time and requires a lot of data. And as you know, data is there, but creating a training data set and using it for building a chatbot is not easy. But we've kind of taken care of that. So that has helped a lot of customers to come in and quickly use our platform. And we are working daily with customers across the world, and we are helping them trying to solve problems for their customers, trying to service them better, trying to have a superior enriched experience of their customers, letting them know what is working, what is not working, giving them the analytics behind all the data that flows in. And the best part is Engati works across multiple channels. We basically rely on messaging platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, Teams, Slack, Telegram. We have integration with around 14 odd messaging platforms through which you can connect your customers to businesses. I'll just quickly go over this slide just to let you know what kind of customers work with us. As I was telling earlier, we have a lot of logos, big logos across different industry verticals like e-commerce, BFSI, even government, logistics, and some of the logos that you see are big brands. And we have a lot of customers who are also small to medium. Let's take Teach for India. I'm not sure everybody knows about Teach for India, but they are like a non-profit organization that wanted to kind of use new age technology, automation, AI, to help educate students, especially the students who don't have the privilege of going to a good school. And when they talked to us and when they told us about their vision, we thought of it and we realized that this platform can also help people who really are not having access to such technology. And we worked with them and built a chatbot for them. And they're using it to kind of help in scheduling classes, training programs. And like during pandemic, all of us were at home and all of us were trying to do our work. And we all needed to talk to our co-workers and customers and vendors and all of that. And we saw a big surge for chatbots during that time. Another interesting one is COVID ASA. During the pandemic, obviously, all of us suddenly were locked in and access to information was kind of missing, or we couldn't really get any information, right? Yeah, we had access to the internet, but we can't talk to anybody. It's not easy to go and talk to people in the market. So one of the challenges that India faced during that time is that there was a shortage of oxygen. So one organization came forth and asked us, can we build like a chatbot that works like a marketplace, where people who have supply of oxygen can post information about the supply, in which cities they have the supply, and people who are trying to distribute oxygen cylinders, they actually can come in and chat with them and try to strike a deal with them and arrange for a delivery. And that was a big hit. And we were really kind of lucky to kind of work with them to help people in need. And we were basically able to solve a big problem. I'll now spend a couple of minutes talking about generative AI. Personally, for me, I interact or I work with AI tools on a daily basis. And sometimes it is pretty interesting, right? Because AI is something that is unknown, right? As some of you may know, most of the AI technology is using deep learning models, and deep learning models are a black box. So for me, it's really interesting to play around with those models, try to learn how it works, and try to see how we can make it work for solving tasks, talking to customers. And generative AI is one of the specialized sort of deep learning technologies, which has really brought this whole AI revolution to an inflection point where it suddenly seems to be taking off. AI as such has been around for more than 30 to 40 years, and deep learning has been around for probably around 10 to 15 years. But why is it that suddenly now everybody wants to talk to ChatGPT. And you know, like ChatGPT got around 1 million users in a week. Now, anybody who's building products would want to do that, right? You would all want to get 1 million users in a week, right? And imagine that you can serve 1 million users and they keep coming back. And that is what all of businesses want, right? They want customers to come back. And ChatGPT currently has a monthly user number of around 100 million. So can you imagine 100 million users using ChatGPT every month? And they have been doing it from the time it got released, sometime late last year. So what has happened suddenly that this AI technology is now looking like it can solve a lot of problems? So what has happened is that the technology was already in place, but just that it is not easy to connect to the technology. So as all of you know, most of us have probably one or more than one mobile phone. So when the first iPhone got released, it was really an exciting era where Steve Jobs released iPhone to the world. And his goal was that everybody should have a phone in the hand, or everybody should have a computer in the hand. Now, that was a breakthrough moment for technology and connecting people. But if you look at it, the software that runs within a mobile device, the operating system, which is iOS or Android, that is something that helped us to kind of quickly build mobile apps and offer it to people. Now, without the OS, we could not kind of proliferate mobile apps. Now, all of us have tons of mobile apps and we keep using them every day. That wouldn't have been possible had we not had the technology powering those devices. Think of it the same way that the generative AI technology like ChatGPT is kind of the operating system for AI, right? It's the power, it's the software that drives all AI, right? And just like mobile apps could actually be built and hundreds and thousands of people start building mobile apps, and not all of them had so much of technical knowledge, right? Now, this is the same moment for AI, where the generative AI is like an operating system and anybody can build apps on it, right? Literally anybody. And I'll tell you why it is anybody. You know, like earlier also, GPT-3 and GPT-2, all the generative models are available, but who could access it? It's only the developer, the programmers, who can write a program in Python or Java and can actually deploy the model in some server or call an API and use it. Now, what about the rest of the world, right? The fact that 100 million people are using ChatGPT means that conversation is the key, right? So you have to, you have to connect with people in a human way. And the only thing that changed between having a GPT model and having a GPT model with a chat interface is the only change that OpenAI made, which led to 100 million people using it. And as all of us know, human beings learn through conversations. We talk to people, we talk to our peers, we talk to our friends, and we use WhatsApp on a daily basis to get information, to share information. So conversation is very critical for understanding and connecting and kind of solving problems collectively. So ChatGPT enabled that by giving us a conversational interface. And that was a very critical moment for us also, because we had been using chatbots for conversations for years now. And we knew about the promise of this technology, but ChatGPT just changed that whole perception about chatbots. And I feel that this is the moment, like the iPhone moment, where suddenly you will see lot of people start building apps which embed this generative technology behind it. And why is that possible? It is possible because ChatGPT is just an API away, right? If you know how to write a small program, and now ChatGPT generates those programs also, you don't have to write it. You can just ask it to write. It can design a web page for you. It can write a piece of code in Python or Java, which can call an API. ChatGPT is just an API away, right? So if you know how to call an API, then you know how to build a generative AI app. Most importantly, it is a subscription model. It's a SaaS platform, just like Engati is a SaaS platform. It's a SaaS product, which means you can pay as you go. So there's not much investment in using that technology. And I think OpenAI has really reduced the prices to a point that anybody in this world can start using the API. And the fact that it is in the cloud means that it can scale, right? So if you look at it, 100 million people using ChatGPT. Now the free version of ChatGPT has certain restriction. I'm sure some of you would have gotten a message saying, oh, the load is too much and we have too many people chatting, come back after some time, but not with the API, because the API is a paid API, right? And the best part is Microsoft is actually running all those models, right? And Microsoft kind of owns and takes care of scaling and reliability of that API. So that is why I feel that building a generative AI app is just an API away, which means if you know how to use an API, you can build a generative AI app. And then you can solve problems yourself and you can solve problems for others. And I feel that in a few months' time or in a few years, there'll be a lot of applications which have the generative AI inside, just like Intel inside, right? There was a time where Intel used to say every computer has Intel inside. The CPU was Intel. Same way, you'll start seeing application which will have the generative AI inside. I'll now take you through few good capabilities of ChatGPT. I'm sure all of you have heard about this. I'll just go over it. Maybe a repetition, but I think I'll relate to why I picked up this 6 categories. So as I think I talked about earlier, human conversations to do business is a very critical part of commerce. And it's a very critical part of connecting customers to businesses, critical part of knowledge management, learning new things, right? And all of us learn by conversing. So ChatGPT can converse in a very personalized way. Depending on what questions you ask, it tries to understand where you're coming from. It tries to give a different answer to different people, right? And that is the interesting part, right? It uses some amount of creativity. And that creativity is very critical, right? If you look at typical rule-based programming logic, you'll have a if then else, saying, okay, if one, then print this message, if two, print a different message. Now, you can't have a million if then else. But ChatGPT is talking to 100 million users and giving them different answers, right? Just like when you search in Google, Google knows what is your search history and tries to give different answers to different people based on the search history. So ChatGPT is able to do that. And that's a very powerful thing, right? It's as if you're talking to somebody who already knows you. And it carries that context. So that is something that is very interesting to have more enriching, more engaging conversations with a chatbot. The next one is text generation, which is, I think, the primary training that ChatGPT got, which is how do I generate text? And here there are many interesting use cases people are solving. Like there are a couple of companies who are now have a way in which you can write a blog post. You can give a few sentences and you can kind of give it a hint and say, okay, why don't you write a blog post about cricket, right? Or why don't you write a blog post about AI itself? What can AI do? Or is AI a threat to humans, right? And it can generate a very good, interesting, engaging blog post. Or you can use it for creative writing, right? You want to write a story, and all of us want to write stories, right? Human beings learn from stories. But I don't think all of us, even though when we are kids, we could easily write stories, we could imagine things and write. Sometimes we find it difficult to put all our thoughts together and write it down, right? So here ChatGPT can help you write a story based on some guidelines or based on some information that you're giving, which can be what you're thinking. So based on your thought process, it can write for you. And I've also heard that people are now writing books. ChatGPT or GPT is like a co-author for a book. It can also rewrite a text. So if you want to send an email to somebody and you got an email and you want to just rephrase it, and you can do that. Summarization. I think all of us want to learn quickly. We want to get to learn a lot of things. There's information overload. We can't read so many articles. So can I quickly summarize what is interesting for me? And ChatGPT can do that for you, right? It can take an entire news article and give you a paragraph which summarizes the key concepts in it. Or it can take an entire book and it can summarize the key highlights of the book, point you to the interesting areas of the book. Not only text, it can also summarize software programs. It can also summarize semi-structured data, right? Think of a JSON file or XML file for people who write programs and use JSON file. They have this huge JSON file, or they have a data model, which is like the relational database schema. And they're like 100 tables, right? Some of you would have experienced that. Oh, I have this 100 tables and now I have to understand all these tables, right? Can somebody just tell me what these tables mean? ChatGPT can help you do that. Question answering. I think question answering is a very key concept for human learning. And imagine that you have this company which has hundreds of documents. They're all over the place, right? You have product documentation, you have policy documents, you have training documents, you have so many presentations, right? And you want to give access to your employees, or you want to give access to your customers, or you want to give access to your vendors or suppliers, anybody, right? How can you give that access in a way that they don't have to download this document, go through it, and get an answer to the question that they have? So with ChatGPT, we have to understand that ChatGPT has been trained on humongous data, right? It has been trained with all the data that is available in internet, right? And no human can ever accumulate so much of knowledge. But we also know that ChatGPT hallucinates, right? It gives fake answers sometimes. Now, for an enterprise, it is very critical to give correct answers, or at least say, sorry, I don't have an answer. Now, ChatGPT is very confident, right? All of you would have experienced that. ChatGPT sometimes very confidently gives you a very stupid and wrong answer. That is something that we have to prevent. And that is one of the key challenges for AI. How do you make people trust AI? Is by giving correct answer or saying, sorry, I don't know, right? It's okay to say, I don't know. That is an interesting use case that we are working on, where we can use the language capabilities of ChatGPT, the linguistic knowledge it has across different languages, but answer from documents within the enterprise. So if there's a customer asking about, hey, this product doesn't work, right? I did this. I wanted to, like, let's say there's a smart TV that I bought and I cannot connect it to the Wi-Fi, right? So can somebody help me? And I'm sure there are like a lot of questions around this, and somebody has already given an answer. So can I get the answer in a bot? Can I get it in 2 minutes? I don't have time to read a document. Or can I connect to a customer support executive? Can I ask that question and can he quickly give me an answer? All of that is possible now. Text categorization is a very old concept in NLP. It's about classifying text, and sentiment analysis is a very key use case of that. ChatGPT does what others are doing, but it probably does it better because you can do it with little to no training, right? It understands human language. It understands words in the language which convey sentiment. And the last one, it's mostly for the programming and developer community, where ChatGPT can now generate code, right? So imagine, right, you want to write 100 lines of code and you have 1 hour to do it. Now you can ask ChatGPT to help you, right? It's like a co-pilot. It helps you to program something, but please make sure that you don't take that code and put it into production. You have to review it, you have to test it, right? So it's an assistant. It's not going to replace you. And we strongly believe that AI technology like this is not going to replace humans, right? It is going to augment our intelligence. It's going to help us grow our knowledge. It's going to give us access to knowledge at our fingertips, democratize access to knowledge in the public domain, in the private domain, within the organization, give us access to that knowledge and grow our knowledge and help us in solving bigger problems by assimilating that knowledge across different areas. So that's what we believe in, and that's what we are working towards. As to how do we use this technology, how do we help humans to do their jobs better, or help them to kind of solve a new problem that they couldn't solve so far. So here are some of the use cases that we feel are very critical for enterprises to solve in the next 6 months to a year. Customer support has been using NLP AI for some time now, and this is a primary use case for Engati also. A lot of our customers use Engati and the chatbots, and we also have a live chat agent, right? So I'll show a demo of that. We have a way in which human agents can directly converse through a web app with their customers in chat mode. And they can also transfer it back to the chatbot when they want to. And that is one of the primary use cases. But again, as I talked about augmenting human knowledge, we want to focus on getting access to information quickly and helping the agent or the human agent or the customer support executive to answer customer queries quickly and to kind of give them the source of the information so that they can look it up if they want to. And the same thing can be done by the bot also. Like, let's take that there's a very low cognitive task, like, okay, there's a document and I can connect to Wi-Fi. Can you tell me the steps to connect to a Wi-Fi? Do you think it is interesting for a human being to answer that query? I'm sure nobody wants to do that over and over again throughout the day, across days, right? So repetitive question that no human being will really be encouraged or inspired to answer. Let's give it to the technology, right? The technology doesn't complain. It can answer that a million times and will never get bored, right? So we can enable use cases on enterprise documents and kind of give access to knowledge, and especially for customer support, getting access to product documentation, service manuals, and training documents, troubleshooting documents, past history of tickets, all of that can be exposed. The next one is virtual assistant, or I think people call it different names, but let's call it virtual assistant. So it's like the Google Assistant that you have or Siri that you have. It helps you perform tasks. It helps you answer questions. Now think of a shopping assistant. The job of the shopping assistant is to help users select the right product and buy it. And it's like the store assistant, in-store assistant we talked about earlier. So you can build a chatbot using ChatGPT, and you can imbibe in it the persona of a shopping assistant, and it can give personalized suggestions and recommendations of product. Let's take another use case, healthcare. You want to book an appointment, you call up a hospital, they put you on hold, right? Because the agents are busy, right? And then you listen to some music, right? I'm sure all of you have encountered this, but I can't, in today's era, I don't think anyone wants to wait. So why not have a virtual assistant for appointment booking for a hospital? And we have certain customers who have implemented such use cases, right? So it can ask you about your details. It can ask about which areas or which doctors you want to consult. It can look up the calendar. It can ask you for your convenient time, try to fit in the, do the scheduling and give you a appointment. Can be easily done. Or let's say you want to build an assistant to teach people, right? To teach students. You can build an assistant which can read up everything that has been written in the history of geography or geology or computer science and can give you answers. You can easily build that. And this is the power of the technology. It enables you to give access to information very quickly. The next one is following what I told earlier, knowledge management. I'm sure everybody in today's world is looking to become a knowledge worker, right? Everybody wants to learn more things, right? Learn different things, learn it quickly, and get ahead of others, right? And perform at our best. How do we do that? How do we constantly keep learning, right? So a big part of learning is, can I get access to the knowledge? Let's say I have a knowledge base in a company. It has tons of documents and design document, product documentation. It has so many presentations about so many areas, HR documents, right? And if it's a company, let's say like a travel company, they have so much information about all the interesting places in the world, right? How do I get access to all of that? How do I learn? So this technology allows democratization of access to that knowledge base, and in a question answering mode, right? Or in a search mode, right? All of us have heard about, oh, this chat GPT is going to kill Google, right? Google search will go away. Now, don't believe to all of that. I think a lot of it is hype, and we need to clearly understand what is hype and what is reality. Chat GPT is going to help augment Google search. Right? Today, if you look at it, the search is like the same technology which was there built 20 years back. I'm sure Google has improved it a lot, but what if I want to build an enterprise search and I want to give the Google-like search to everybody in the enterprise? Can I do it? Very difficult earlier. Can I do it now? Very easy. And I can guarantee you, it takes probably less than 50 to 100 lines of code to do that. And by the way, you can ask ChatGPT to write it for you. So that's the power of the technology. Now, the next one is Copilot. It's basically a buddy or a peer. So it can, ChatGPT can review what you're doing, can act as a peer reviewer for you. And GitHub Copilot is one such tool where it actually can assist you in programming or coding. So that is something which is pretty interesting. Something like a Copilot in an aeroplane, right? Assists the pilot, reviews what the pilot is doing. It can be done now. Content creation. This is again a very powerful use case. Imagine all the marketing team, like I'm a marketing executive. I have been given a deadline that by tomorrow I need to create a campaign and send it to everybody about generative AI. I have to read about generative AI. I have to put together like a campaign with a lot of good nuggets of information. I have to create some images. I have to make it very attractive. I have to send it for different customer segments, different messages. Mind-boggling, right? And I have just 1 hour to do it. Now I will look for help. I want to do that, right? I don't want to give up on that. So can ChatGPT help me? Of course it can, right? ChatGPT can help you to generate campaign messages. So I can just give it a few pointers and I can say, what is this campaign about? What's the theme? What is it that I want people to know? And which customer segment I'm targeting? It can give you infinite number of variations of the campaign messages. And if I get that, as a human, I can quickly review it and I can pick what I want, right? Same augmented intelligence. We're not asking ChatGPT to take over the job. You're saying, hey, you give me the help, get access to all the knowledge that you have. Tell me how to write this ad copy. Become a copywriter for me. Create some fantastic, interesting, really new age sort of visual content, something that nobody has ever thought of, something that nobody has ever seen. That will quickly attract people. And you can use it for creating social media posts, you can create ads, you can also use it to create training materials. All of this is now possible using this technology. The last one is very interesting and also very critical in the age of data that we live in. Like we have so much of data. Data is all around us. I'm sure everybody has like a terabyte or 2 terabytes of pictures and documents and all of that, right? But then it's like, how do I get to know what I can do with the data? Very difficult. You need like a data analyst to answer that question. Now with this technology, ChatGPT can become like a data analyst. I can say, hey, here are my sales orders over the last 2 weeks. Tell me what is going wrong. I don't seem to be getting any growth in sales. Can it do it? To some extent. Can we instruct it to do it the way I described? Of course, it can be done. And that is very interesting for me because now suddenly we can put this tool, give it millions of data points. It can comb through all of the data. It can do all the number crunching. And based on the instruction, it can come back and say, hey, do you know that you're not growing because you don't have traffic? You're not trying to attract people. Go and run an ad. Here is the ad, by the way. I'll suggest you an ad that you can run for the products in your store. Imagine the power of that. So that is now possible. I'll now go over to a demo. I'll quickly demo what we have currently enabled already in Ingati. And I'll then quickly talk through different use cases that we are looking at in the future. So here is what we call the Ingati inbox. This is like your email inbox. It's an omni-channel inbox. You can have customers or users. On the left-hand side, you can see the names of the users. These are all users who have been talking to the enterprise and with a human agent. And you basically are looking at a conversation that has happened between a human agent and a user. So the use case is that, let's say I have a travel company called Blue Sky Travel, and I'm selling travel packages. And there's a customer who is interested to travel to Europe, and especially now it's summer, right? People want to go to Europe. So the customer comes in and says, okay, how can you help me? And Henry, who is the customer support executive, let's say I'm Henry, and I'm saying, yeah, sure, I can help you, right? What do you want to do? Where do you want to travel? And then the customer is saying that, yeah, I'm planning a trip to Europe this summer. And Henry is, in a human way, saying summer is a great time to go to Europe. And do you have any travel plan, right? So there's like a guy who is trying to assist the customer to create a travel plan. And then they have this conversation, right? And at the end, the customer is basically requesting for an itinerary, a plan with details of the cost, the places to visit, visa requirements, and all of those things that you need to decide and finalize a travel plan. And Henry is saying, yeah, I can get all of that to you, and I'll probably send it to you in an hour or so. And with that, they end the conversation, right? And then let's say in the end, Henry is saying, thank you for talking to me. Is there anything else I can assist you? So Henry sends this message to the customer. This is the customer's window. And the customer now sees this message and says, nothing else right now. Looking forward to hear from you. So Henry now kind of looks at it and winds up the conversation and says, making a commitment, I'll send it within an hour. Now let's say this conversation has happened, and like this, millions of conversations are happening on the NRD platform with human agents every day. Now think of what Henry is going to do next. So Henry needs to summarize this conversation. All that has happened here, Henry needs to summarize it into a paragraph or so, and needs to go and update a ticket or capture this as a lead in a CRM system and kind of put the summary so that somebody gets the context. Or what if Henry now has to transfer this to some other agent? Let's say Henry now sees that, okay, this lead can convert and maybe wants to send it to the sales team, right? So Henry can transfer this whole conversation to another agent. And the other agent comes in. Imagine when ChatGPT was not there, oh, I need to now run through and read through this thousands and thousands of messages and understand what's going on. And I'm sure nobody will want to do that. And people are today struggling to do that. And people are like fed up doing that. So how does ChatGPT help us? So let me now go and say, okay, I'm going to close this conversation. I'm done. Let me generate a summary, right? Now, when we do this, what we do is we kind of send out information about this to a ChatGPT model, and we kind of ask it to take this entire summary and then kind of summarize it. And after this is summarized, it will be available for the agent and any other agent that come in the future and want to look at the summary, right? So if you look at it, there are two conversations here. There's another conversation about certs and all of that. But the good thing is you can have a chronological sequence of the summary. And eSense GPT is our trademark for eSense is our brand name for the AI technology that we've developed. And now we have integrated that with GPT. So I can now get the summary. And the best part is I can just copy it, right? And I can just paste it in any other app, or I can just send an email to my supervisor saying, hey, I got a new lead, right? And we should convert this guy. And then I can get on to working on the proposal that I have to send. Or if I transfer it to another agent, then all that is documented here, right? So this is the way in which kind of you can enable summarization of conversation. There's another thing that I will also demo. Now, let's say that I want to kind of explain a particular query. So what that means is that let me just start a conversation. So the thing that I want to demo here is that if we have like a query and the user is basically asking something and the agent or the human agent is kind of trying to understand what is that query and trying to sort of answer that query. So as you all know, like many of us kind of want to ask a question to ChatGPT and get an answer. Now here I have already put that query and here's the answer that you get. So now in context of the same conversation that we did, basically the customer is asking a question saying, hey, can you provide some good suggestions on adventure sports? Maybe because he's going to Europe or somewhere. And in Alps, right, which is in Europe. And can you also give us some details of restrictions that may apply? Here, what we do is we real-time send this query and ask ChatGPT to answer this query. Now, as all of us know, ChatGPT has infinite knowledge of a lot of things. It has a lot of general knowledge, and we're tapping into the general knowledge ChatGPT. And if you see, interestingly, it has listed out some things like, oh, you can do snowboarding, you can do hiking, biking, skiing, and all of that. And then it is giving guidance to the agent, saying you should provide all of these details. And you should also find out about age restriction, safety restriction. I'm sure human beings know all of this, but sometimes it is very difficult to recollect that and put all of this in such a paragraph and send it in like 10 seconds, right? Now, here is where the power of the technology comes in. So ChatGPT can now answer this very quickly. At this point, we are taking the answer from ChatGPT. We are also working on kind of validating it, because sometimes the answer may be not exactly what you would want, but that's why we are having a human supervision. In the future, we are going to have it automated where we will do the validation and we'll kind of have the question directly answered by the bot. And only in the case where the bot cannot answer, we'll hand it over to the human being. So that's all I had to cover. I'd like to thank all of you for your time and attending this session and kind of learning about what all we can do, what are the possibilities with this technology. And we can now go to the questions. If anyone has any questions, you can type in your questions in the Q&A section, or you can actually put it in the chat. Okay, so I see a question from Patrick. Thank you, Patrick, for your question. So are there specific settings to get benefit from the GPT features on our Engati account to use it when building our bots? Yeah, it's a very good question, and I'm guessing you already are an Engati customer. Thank you for being an Engati customer. Yes, there are settings. Right now, we haven't opened it up for all customers. We are having a kind of pre-plan as of now, where we'll allow beta customers to use this feature, test it out, and give us feedback. And maybe by end of April, we are going to open it up for all customers. And right now, the requirement is that the customer has to have an OpenAI account, because we are going to use your account, because the data that is being exchanged by us and ChatGPT belongs to you. So it should be in your account with OpenAI. So that's about it. You just have to create an API key, and I can tell you that creating a account in OpenAI is like a 1-minute job. If you have a Google or a email account, you can just use that and create an account, and it gives you a free credit of $5, I think. And that is enough for you to do tons of conversations, and you can get started with that. And if you like the features, if you are able to get benefit from it, go for a paid account. I think it is very cheap now. They have slashed the prices. Now, the second one is again pretty interesting, and thank you who asked this question. Is currently this ChatGPT feature powered for agent chat? Yes, it is only available for agent chat as of now. The reason being that we are testing it out with few customers. We're getting the feedback. We are trying to put in guardrails, trying to improve the answers. And we're going through this cycle that every AI product goes through. Most AI products, and look at ChatGPT itself, right? They released ChatGPT, they took 3-4 months, and now they release GPT-4. And if some of you don't know, GPT-4, which is the next generation model from OpenAI, got released a couple of days back, and will probably come into ChatGPT. And you need that time to kind of make sure that you are giving appropriate answers, you're putting safety measures in place, and we are going through that. So that's why we want agent to only access this now, because the agent has the knowledge to not give out an answer given by ChatGPT. If they think it is not appropriate or it is not informative, they can use their judgment. So that's why it is now only available for agents. But as I was telling, we are working towards making it available in the bot. Maybe in the next release, we'll have it to do question answering in the bot. And that will open up a lot of use cases that upload any document. And we currently have a technology called DocuSense, right? DocuSense is based on cognitive search technology. We built that 4 years back, right? And that time there was no ChatGPT. And it does something similar. You upload a document, a PDF file or a XML file, sorry, a web page, or you upload a website URL, and you can search and get answers from that document. But that is using what is called as an extractive summarization technology. What ChatGPT does is abstractive, which means it can read through all the documents that you uploaded. You have 10 documents on travel and tourism, visiting Bali, right? You have a question on Bali, you want to visit Bali. And you are saying, okay, what are the interesting things I can do in Bali? Now, what interesting things can be done in Bali is maybe in 20 different web pages, right? So how can I look at all those 20 web pages, read through all of that within a second, and give a very engaging answer? Now, ChatGPT can do that. We are testing it now, and we are seeing very good results on that. So we will open it up in the next release where people can use it to get access to their website data, any internal data that they have, and can use the true power of question answering, where it will be a chat interface very similar to ChatGPT, where you can ask a question, get an answer, ask a follow-up question, contextually it will give you a contextual answer, and keep doing it till you are satisfied. So there's another question about integrating ChatGPT with existing Ngati account from Srividya. Thank you, Srividya. Yes, so as I explained, there are certain steps that you need to have an OpenAI account. You need to have an API key for that. And then you can get in touch with customer support and they can actually turn it on for you, right? It's as simple as that. Okay, very good question from somebody who wants to know, how can I increase my revenue of Shopify online store? Now, right now, the features that we have are primarily going to help in assisting agents. So as a lot of Shopify stores have human agent assisting their kind of users, maybe they're looking for products, maybe they're looking for what is selling most. So all of those can really be enabled. And we are working on enabling sort of way to analyze all of your store data, all of your traffic data, all of your conversation data, and give insights to the agents saying, yeah, if this is the customer, I know what the customer's purchase history is, recommend this product to the customer. So we are going to recommend those products. And we already have a recommendation feature as part of our Shopify offering. We're going to bring that in and integrate that with ChatGPT, where we can give personalized recommendations. Interesting one from Achint. Thank you, Achint. Yes, this is a very good use case that we are also working on. A lot of data is locked in databases, and we are trying to use ChatGPT to unlock all of that value in the databases. And we should be able to do that. Very soon, you'll see announcements around that. And we don't have to train the models, right? That is the old way of doing it, the supervised learning. We'll use a technique called as few sort learning, which means we can instruct ChatGPT with few examples to be able to answer queries from databases. The next one is again from Patrick. Thank you, Patrick, for your second question. Can we connect GPT features to our bot and specify a database? Yes, things similar to what Achint asked. Yes, of course, we can do that. We can connect ChatGPT to any documents. It can connect to any Excel file or a CSV file or a database. The only thing that we are very closely working on to ensure that we are not going to share any of your data, corporate data or your sales data to ChatGPT. All of that will be in your store, in your database. Just that we will use your question and try to come up with a way to answer a question from your database, right? Something like we'll create a SQL query, which will run on your database and give the data. The last one is from Raghib. Thank you, Raghib. what is required from the business to provide Engati to make best use case for agent. ChatGPT provides general information. Right, this is a very critical point. ChatGPT definitely provides general information, and that is the challenge. How can we use it for our specific data? That is something that, as I explained a little bit earlier, we are working on, saying that we'll use the linguist features of ChatGPT, we'll use its knowledge of being able to understand concepts. So like, let's say somebody is saying, hey, it's a rainy day, I'm looking for something. Now, what do you think ChatGPT will answer? It will try to give you answer, okay, why don't you buy an umbrella or a raincoat? It understands, it connects the rainy day to an umbrella. That you didn't have to tell it to ChatGPT, it already knows. But now with that, can I look up for products in my store and suggest to the customers? That is something that we need to solve, which means, can I run that on my data and give answers on my data and not use the general knowledge that ChatGPT has? We are doing that. We are working on enabling features where we can use the knowledge of ChatGPT to answer questions on your data by instructing it. So we are creating an instruction model where you can instruct ChatGPT to give you answers on your data. So I guess those were some of the questions. I'm going to look at the chat window. There are certain questions there also. So question from Manish about when the ChatGPT feature API will be available. So Manish, the feature is available already. It's in beta. So if you are interested in using it, you can contact Engati and we can enable it for you. For customer service, this is a question from Porosec. For customer service and CRM analysis, how do we use it for closed data ecosystem? Yeah, something like HubSpot. Yes, very interesting. So as I had explained a bit earlier, the true power of this technology is when I can use its knowledge understanding, language understanding, but make it answer questions or search on the data that I have and answer it on my data. And that is possible, right? I think recently HubSpot released a feature like that. So we are working on creating fine-tuned models which can use the generic ChatGPT model, but instruct it to answer questions from enterprise documents. It can be a CRM, it can be any other document that you have. It can be text, it can be XML, it can be JSON, it can be a database, right? It can be an Excel file or a CSV file. So all of those is possible and we are working on it. And the second part is, how can we use it for marketing campaigns? Yeah, this is a use case that is very close to our heart. Engati allows people to run marketing campaigns through our broadcast and campaign features. And we are working towards now suggesting to users. So let's say you are the same example of a marketing executive has to run this campaign and get a lot of leads, right? You want to know which campaign should I run, what message should I send, which is working out, which is not working out. So maybe ChatGPT gives you 3 options saying, hey, can you send this message? This is very good for younger people. Maybe this is good for the middle-aged guys, right? So you can send it out and then we collect the data and we actually come back and we'll tell you, hey, you know, this message resonated very well with the younger crowd, but this message didn't work so much with the middle-aged guys. So we may have to change it. Now you can ask ChatGPT, hey, this didn't work out too well. Can you give me a different message? I can give it to you. So that is something that we are working on. And that is something that you'll see shortly enabled at Engati platform level. Next one from Vikram about creating ads. Yeah, so yeah, it can, you can actually tell ChatGPT about the product. You don't have to give exact specs. You can give a very high level picture that, okay, there's a 1-bed apartment. I'm a real estate guy. I want to sell this apartment. And here are the little bit specs about the apartment, maybe the location, maybe facilities. And can you now create an ad copy which can have a high sort of rank in Google search? And ChatGPT can try and give you that because it has seen so many ads, right? And it can give you a generalized sort of ad copy. Obviously, you need to review it. You can't just directly take it and use it. But the fact that it can give you variations, and one of the key things about ChatGPT is creative. So if you have to tap into the creativity, there are parameters that you can tweak, where one way is give me formal, straight answers. One way is be very creative, give me outlandish answers. It can do that. And you can actually try it out. Recording, yes, we'll send it to you. Our marketing team is going to send out a recording. The next one is about replying in voice. That's a very interesting question. Right now, it is text. But as you know, like voice is already supported in Engati. At some point of time, we are going to enable voice on these features. And ChatGPT, the OpenAI themselves have released a voice product called Whisper. And we're looking at it to see if we can use it. But yes, that's a very good suggestion. And we will definitely look at enabling voice support in the future. So I guess I have covered most of the questions. There's one last one which I can take about timelines for implementing. We are working hard to kind of try and get this done in the next couple of months. We will be making releases every month, and you'll see every month we'll be announcing new features. We are working at the same pace as OpenAI is doing in releasing models every 3-4 months. But we have releases monthly, and we'll try and cover new features every month. One good one from Sairaj about responding to email. That's a very interesting point. ChatGPT can answer emails, can summarize emails, right? Just like you saw summarization of conversations, it definitely can summarize emails. And interestingly, yesterday I was seeing a video from Google, and Google has now a way to take the entire email thread and summarize it, right? So yes, it is possible to do that. We haven't worked on it, but you know, we also support email as a channel, and we'll certainly look at enabling replying to email or summarization. There is a lot of interest from users for such use cases. Now, one of the things that we do at Engati at a product level is that we listen to our customers, we listen to people who are interested in our product, and we try to get a sense of what everybody needs and prioritize that. So some of these features, if they are critical to everyone, we'll obviously do it early. And if very few customers are asking for it, we'll do it, but at a later point in time. One last thing which I definitely want to address, that plagiarism is definitely a very critical issue in AI models. And as I told, we are going to have certain guardrails and certain controls in place where we will try to get the content that ChatGPT is generating, and we'll try to merge it with the content that you have so that it is personalized to your experience. See, the common words will be there, right? But it will not really copy something. Now, ChatGPT at certain point of time will enable a feature where they will actually watermark any content that has been used for training, and we'll definitely look at that. So if there is a watermark on any answer that we get, we're not going to suggest that to anybody. Multiple languages, again from Munir, not yet, but in the works. We definitely want to support it in all the 50 languages that we have. As you know, we work with customers across the world, and we support 50 languages in our current NLP pipeline, right? Which is not the ChatGPT pipeline. We already support 50 languages, and we'll look at how we can support other languages in ChatGPT. I think that's about it. I guess we're a little bit over time, and I hope I have tried to do a good job of going through everything that we wanted to discuss with all of you. Thanks a lot, everyone. I think it is really nice to have so many of you join and ask very interesting questions. And I would like to thank all of you for joining this webinar and asking questions and helping me and understanding what you're looking for. And we'll definitely kind of send out more details about this in a few days. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to send us an email, or we'll get into a call and we can have a one-on-one conversation also. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. And I would like to thank the Engati's marketing team and obviously the technical team and everybody else in Engati who have been working very hard to kind of make this possible. And I look forward to having more such conversations with all of you in the future as we start releasing new features.